Yo, what's up guys? I've got some free time today, so I wanted to do a video that I've actually wanted to do for like quite a while. I want to just go through the sea of guitars back here and kind of just talk about them all, you know. I might do some playing, but I don't know, I've done enough playing. I kind of just want to talk about the guitars. So I think for simplicity's sake, I'm just gonna go through them chronologically, you know, from earliest to most recent, which works out nicely because the earliest is actually the bass, the only bass back here. So I've got all the specs in front of me on my computer. But oh, this is a really heavy one. This is like this is a beast. It's a 6-string bass. It's an Ibanez BTB 676. I'm sure they make some version of this nowadays. It's probably been updated, but I got this in like 2012, no, it was like before that. This was because I got this in grade 7 of elementary school. So that had to be like 2011. And I remember when I got it, me and my friend, we biked like super far to go to the guitar store along in McQuaid. And, you know, it's not like we had money to spend there, but I liked looking at the guitars and I saw this. And I wasn't even like that into bass at the time. I had just started playing bass because I wanted to join the concert band at school, but there was no guitar in concert band, of course, so the next best option was the electric bass. And I mean, I enjoy playing bass nowadays, so I'm glad I got into it as early as I did. But yeah, I don't know why I always gravitated towards the extended range basses. My first ever bass was a 5-string, so I don't even own a 4-string bass. And I think I might have had a 7-string guitar before I got my first bass. I can't really remember the timeline on that, but I guess I just had it in my mind. Oh, I'm gonna play extended range instruments, and you know, I do think 6-string bass, the low B, the high C, I think is like the perfect. Oh, this is not in tune. Oh, it's in an open tuning. Interesting. But yeah. I don't know why I did that on this guitar, on this bass, but yeah, I don't know. I do really love this. I think 6-string bass is like perfect. It's the mix of the super low stuff and then you have the high stuff, because I like playing a lot of chords and tapping stuff on the bass. But yeah, to get more in depth, I'm gonna just read some of the specs. It's what, 35-inch scale. Yeah, it's huge. It is like noticeably huge. Obviously, it's you got the poplar burl. For some reason, I was like really into poplar burl. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Poplar burl. It was like my favorite finish when I was a kid. I mean, I think it looks pretty awesome, especially as far as like wooden top finishes go. I'm not that into like quilted maple or I mean, I don't know, I'm saying that now, but one of my guitars has, I don't know if it's quilted or I don't know the different names for finishes, but I don't know. I mean, I usually just cover my guitars with stickers anyways, so I wouldn't do that with this because it would just get too busy with the wood finish. But it's a neck through. What it says, walnut / light ash wing body. So I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about the different woods. Maple / bubinga neck. That's actually pretty interesting. I didn't know it had bubinga. I guess that's, you know, it is quite a. Oh, I really, especially given how early I got it in my life. It is one of the most beautiful guitars I own. But yeah, you know, 24 frets, of course. It's kind of crazy. These Bartolini pickups, there's like, I don't even know what all the knobs do. Some of them have broken off over the years. But I know there's like a volume, a tone knob. I think this is the volume. And there's like the bass, treble, mid equalizers. So you can get like really in depth with the tone on this. I haven't really. I don't really touch them that much. I kind of, I gotta just keep everything at full, or at the lowest. I don't know. It depends. I haven't really messed around with this bass in a while. I kind of have to, because eventually I've got to record bass parts. But yeah, it's really sick. I can't believe I got it when I was like 11 years old. But yeah. So the next one is actually this little Telecaster. Well, now it's the Arthur Morgan Telecaster. That sticker is the most recent thing on it. Also, there's the piano sticker. I don't really know why I did that, but this I got in like grade 9, grade 10, whenever I first joined jazz band in high school, because at the time I had like a bunch of Ibanez guitars, like a bunch of super strats. I had my Xiphos, which I still have. I still have the Xiphos, which I want to get it properly set up so I can start playing it again. But I had essentially a lot of metal guitars, and I didn't feel. I mean, this is stupid. I've seen plenty of high school jazz bands, like when I was in high school, when we would go to like competitions, or like on YouTube when you're watching like performances of high school band repertoire, which is very nostalgic, by the way. But you see plenty of guitarists in high school jazz bands fucking going crazy on their Ibanez, So it was like a total vain thing of me to be like, well, I can't join concert band, or I can't join jazz band with my metal guitars. I need a Telecaster. Also, at the time, I was just getting into like math rock and emo stuff, and all of those guys were playing Telecasters. Like early in my life, I was like aggressively edgy, and I was like, I don't get why people like Fender Telecasters or Stratocasters. They look stupid. Ibanez guitars are cool. And then go figure, once the bands that I really liked listening to started playing, they were playing Telecasters, I was like, oh, okay, I guess Telecasters are cool. And now I love Telecasters, so there you go. But yeah, this thing, it is the Squier Classic Vibe 50s Telecaster. I must have got it in like 2013, 2014, like around that time. I think they actually just came out with like a Classic Vibe 60s Telecaster, I think, which tracks because it has been about 10 years since I got this, so that makes sense. But yeah, it's really cheap. I'm looking at it now at the Long McQuaid website. It goes for like $5.89. I think that's about how much I paid for it back then. Or how much my parents paid for it back then, because I was a little child who had no money. I hope. I think I've probably paid that back by now, but but yeah, the specs on this, it's only 21 frets. That's something I notice every time I play this, because my other Tele is 22 frets, and I don't play the 22nd fret that much, but it is interesting playing a guitar that doesn't have that fret. I'm like, oh, okay. It's the C-shape neck, which is different from the other Tele. It's a deep C, I think. Deep C neck. Or I'll see when I get to that, because I've got the specs, but it's a pine body. I actually didn't know that. I wasn't, I wanted to get the specs up, because I actually don't know what like any of the woods on this thing is, because it's like all butterscotch colored, and especially with the neck, I've never really known what the neck is. So it's maple, that's what I figured. I figured it was just a maple neck, but it's got like an interesting tint to it. So there you go. Maple. I love maple necks. Some people think that like the wood doesn't affect the sound, but I don't know. All of these guitars have like different woods, and I can notice like different qualities in the sound of them. So I believe that the wood has some effect, but also in that same regard, that they also have mostly different pickups. So, you know, I think it's a mixture of pickups and wood. I think it makes a difference. You know, it's not a hill I'm gonna die on, but I think tone woods do. I think it's a thing. But yeah, it's a 25.5 inch scale length. I think most of the guitars are gonna be 25.5. This guitar, the main, you know, so I played this a bunch when I was a kid. It was like my math rock guitar, so I was putting in all these crazy tunings and playing like, you know, TTNG and stuff like that. So, you know, I got really, and also I was playing it at school for like jazz band stuff. So, you know, this guitar has been around the world. Not around the world. I think it's been to California and possibly Hawaii, but I don't know. I brought my bass to Hawaii. That bass has been to more places than this guitar. But you know, this has the most wear and tear. It's got all these, I don't even know how it's gotten some of these. This is just like tape residue that is so caked on there. I don't know if I'm ever gonna, I mean, I could definitely remove it. I'm just lazy. But you know, this guitar has got like a lot of dings and scratches on it, which is cool. I like seeing like the wood peeking through. You know, it's battle damage. I'm not into like, what are they called? Oh man, the guitars that are like they come from the factory, all like mucked up. Oh man, the word's like on the tip of my tongue, but it doesn't matter that much. But you know, I'm not really into that. But if it happens naturally, you know, I'm into a rough looking guitar. But yeah, unfortunately, when I got the newest Telecaster, which is actually the next guitar I'm going to talk about, so I kind of just stopped playing this guy. I feel bad about it. It kind of became like my neglected son. And at a certain point, it became the guitar that I just put into like weird tunings that I didn't want to put in my other guitar into. So like, you know, I would set it up into just like stuff to play like TTNG songs, like when they tune the G string like way up to a C. And then I tried putting it into like a super low tuning and just kind of like messed it up. And then, I mean, again, the only reason I'm playing this guitar now so much is because I used it for a tuning experiment. I'm not gonna like plug in or anything, but you know, basically I saw a Tim Lurch video, great jazz guitarist, and he was talking about cluster tuning, where he tuned the E and the A string in standard tuning an octave higher, and it led to like all these really close and tight intervals that you could play like really big clusters on, like you were playing a piano. And you know, I wanted to do something similar to like to that, but you know, I don't play in standard, so I wanted to come up with just like a different tuning. And you know, so the highest four strings are kind of just like what I'm used to. It's like the root, third, fifth root sort of thing that you get in open E, open D, the open tunings. And then the lowest two strings, I've got the relative minor. These are in D flat, like a D flat major thing. And then the lowest string I have as a B flat, so the relative minor of D flat. And then since, you know, the third that I've got is the, oh my god, G flat? No, it's an F. That's an F. but then that string is a G flat. So you got the minor second interval in there that I really like. You know, I'm trying not to get too into the weeds about all that stuff, but this is kind of, yeah, I like the harmonics. It's slightly out of tune, so sorry about that, but I like the harmonics with that minor second interval in there, and like the thick stuff of it. I guess that's kind of why the piano sticker is on this thing, because I play a lot of like piano like cluster chords on this. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy. I didn't expect the tuning to work out as much as it did. I actually really love playing in this tuning. You know, I did like a whole aquatic animals themed like series on this guitar, which I should probably do some more stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It just became. I did like what pufferfish, I think, was one. I don't know. You can. It's like on my Instagram. You just have to scroll a lot because I post a lot. But yeah, this guitar, I'm happy it's back in the rotation because I do really like it. You know, like I noticed recently when I was playing it, I was like, this is insanely good for like a $600 guitar, tops. Like it feels really great to play. So awesome. And yeah, next up, we've got this is when I started getting like real invested in like just glamming up my guitars. You know, this is the Telecaster that, like, if you've been following me on Instagram or YouTube or like, you know, anywhere online, you've seen this guitar. And you know, I think probably like the biggest thing that people say to me like online is, man, your Telly looks amazing. Or that's a beautiful Telecaster, where'd you get it? And you know, it's I love that. But yeah, you know, it's like when I got it in 2018, or actually probably 2017. Definitely 2017 is when I got it. It's like 6 years ago, I guess. It feels like I've had it my whole life at this point because it's been my main guitar for such a long time. But yeah, you know, I remember because it was I was working at a trucking office doing a whole bunch of stuff. It was a weird period of my life. But my first paycheck basically all went towards this guitar. It's not available anymore. They have the American Professional 2 now, which is like different from this. But I think I paid like $1,100 for this, $1,000, something like that. So, you know, it was like the first really expensive guitar that I bought like on my own without any like financial aid from my family. So that felt nice. You know, that was nice for younger me. This is out of tune for some reason. I guess I haven't played this guitar in a while, but yeah. Usually this is in open E, my favorite tuning. But yeah, you know, it's like the guitar I play live. It's the guitar I play all the time. The rarely seen, really awful back, I kind of just threw random stickers on there that I didn't have space for on the front. So I was like, no one sees it. It doesn't really matter. Although I do wish that the banjo and tambourine playing turtles could have made it on the front, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. The when I bought it, it was, you know, it was just naked. It was just a solid. I mean, the finish itself, it's called Mystic Seafoam. It's kind of got like a sparkly aspect to it. It is a very, even without the stickers, I thought this guitar was very beautiful. And the pick guard was originally just like a regular white pick guard, which I've got, you know, I've got ideas for that, but at the moment it's just hanging on my wall because why not? But yeah, I guess to get into some of the specs, obviously it's maple neck. I love the maple neck. It's a 25.5 inch scale length, like most guitars. Alder body, and yeah, it's got the modern deep C neck, which it does feel different from the other Telecaster, which has just like the regular C neck. It feels a little different. But you know, I don't know if it's like super noticeable. And I'm trying to think if there's anything more to note of it. I mean, you know, I guess it's got like an updated bridge for like, it is really intuitive and like easy to set up in terms of like action, intonation, stuff like that. Like some of my guitars are a bit more cumbersome trying to do maintenance stuff like that. So I do appreciate this thing for how simple and easy it is to use. You know, Fender, they have won me over. They've proved themselves. I do love Fender now. They're very cool. But yeah, I guess in 2020, in like the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, I was so just like stuck at home, going kind of like stir crazy. And I lost my mind a little bit during that time, but I don't remember how. I think someone who followed me, and I followed them back, you know, like I do often. They posted like just a random story on Instagram, and their guitar had this exact pickguard. I'm not very original. It was this exact pickguard, and they were like swapping it out for a different color, like a solid color one. And I remember being like, why would you get rid of that beautiful pickguard? And I asked them, I was like, where did you get that? And yeah, it's Storm Guitars. They're a Korean-based company, I believe. The website's in Korean, so you know, I'm assuming they're in Korea. They do like hand-etched pick guards in like all the different shapes. They've got like every pick guard you can think of, I think. And they've got a bunch of really sick designs. This is like the folk floral, I think. I think it's just awesome looking. But you know, they've got a whole bunch of different ones, and they have straps that match too. I'm thinking of getting the matching strap, but they are pretty expensive because they're leather, and you know, it's like it's handmade. So you know, you do pay quite a bit, but it looks awesome. And come on, I mean, it was money well spent. And then most of the stickers are from Giacomo's inlay stickers, I believe is what it's called. He's a Japanese guy. I think it's like one guy. He's probably got like some people helping him, but I think it's like mostly just the one dude. And he's got a bunch of stickers. It is like, you know, it's mostly like inlay stickers, and I did the inlay stickers thing for like a little bit. There was a time, I don't know if any of it's on, I know some of it's on camera because I've gone through some older videos and been like, oh yeah, I had, you know, at one point I had like a rose that went up onto like the headstock, and it covered like the first frets. At one point I had like hummingbirds all the way down the neck on every fret. But you know, as much as I love the stickers, you know, I might just not know how to apply them properly. I'm very impatient, so it is definitely possible that I'm just rushing through the process to a point where they don't like fully stick the way that they should. And also I just have like naturally sweaty, oily hands, so I think like a mixture of all of that, it just led to the stickers were like peeling and moving around. And you know, I got like a little used to the feeling, but I don't know, so like just moving my hand up and down the fretboard, I did notice the stickers, and it wasn't like a feeling that I loved. So I don't really mess around with the fretboard inlays anymore, but you know, the body stickers, yeah, I'll go crazy on those. I did have to remove some from up here because just my arm, especially like during live shows when I'm like actually getting like real sweaty. It was just the movement, especially going from like tapping to picking, and I was just peeling stickers off all the time. So that's why there's like some negative space there that isn't filled, just because, you know, it was before, and there's no point filling it back in because I know exactly what will happen. But yeah, I love it. I think I already mentioned I keep it in open E. All of these guitars are in some variation of open E, which is kind of dumb, but you know, if you find a tuning that you love, just stick with it, I guess. But yeah, I think that's everything of note for this guitar. It's awesome, you know. There's not much more to say. So next up, we've got my first custom guitar. This one I got a lot of questions about because it's just not really like anything else that you see. It's got, you know, the Telecaster body with the awesome reveal bevel here of like the back. I love stuff like that when like I just love bevels and things like that. And then like the reverse Strat headstock, you don't see very often, and you see it even less often on a Tele body. And you know, it's like it's neck through. Just a bunch of stuff about this guitar is like sick. The lace alumitone, the Holler Sean bridge, and yeah, you know, and it's because it's custom made. I've got the whole spec sheet up here. It's like quite intensive because let me see, what year is this? Yeah, 2017. I got this in 2017. Same year I got the Telecaster. Interesting. Or honestly, I do remember it took like a year after I ordered it until it actually got into my hands. So maybe it delivered more around sometime in 2018. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. Because I do actually, no, I got this after the Telecaster, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, you know, what does it matter? But yeah, it was my first Telecaster. Why did I say that? It was my first custom guitar. Tele's on the mind. It was my first custom guitar. So I went a little crazy on the customized options. It's 25.5 inch scale length. Honestly, I wish that I should have, because this was like my drop B guitar. It's my down tuned guitar. I keep it in like really low tunings. And I even debated just getting a baritone scale length, and I should have. I should have, because I do sometimes have issues with like intonation and tuning with all these low tunings. So yeah, I should have got a baritone scale length, but there's a lot of coulda, woulda, shouldas in my life in terms of guitars. So you know, you live and you learn. But yeah, like I said earlier, it's neck through. I'm really into neck through guitars. I don't know why, you know, I love the sleek look of it. And I love having the neck like showing on the body. You know, there's some really interesting looks. I mean, you know, it's kind of vain to go straight to aesthetics, but you know, as you'll kind of realize, I'm a bit vain. I love my vanity in terms of my guitars looking pretty, so I appreciate it for that. But also, I mean, obviously it's not plugged in right now, but you can kind of hear it with just like the acoustic sound. It's got insane, it's got insane sustain. I think I filmed it once, and I don't know if I posted it or anything, but I just wanted to see, like, I just played a big open power chord and saw how long it rang out. It was like well over a minute. Like, it just kept ringing. I love the sustain you get on a neck through body. And like I said, I'm a believer in tone woods. I think there's some interesting things that go on with, you know, I think it's sick. So, what else? We've got 24 frets. I remember debating, cause Halo Guitar on their custom guitar, customizer, which is still like the best guitar customizer I've ever seen. It's so in depth and everything is like displayed so nicely. Like I spent so much time as a youth, not a kid. I was like a young adult, 18 to like 20. Well, as a youth too, because I was into Halo guitars for a long time. So yeah, in high school, I was definitely also like making much edgier designs on their customizer when I was like super into some metal. But you know, it was one of the options to get 27 frets. And I don't know why I didn't get it, because if I remember right, adding 27 frets instead of 24 only added like $100 or something to the overall price, and this guitar was already like $3,000 and something dollars. So you know, at that point it's like, what's an extra $100 to get 27 frets? But for whatever reason I didn't go for it. I wish I did now, because I don't know, for some reason 27 frets feels very it feels very I want it. I want 27 frets for some reason. I barely even play up to the 24th fret, you know? But I don't know. And speaking of the 24th fret, one of the specific asks I had, I remember sending a separate email to be like, hey, by the way, I wanted them to get like the cutaway at the 24th fret like really deep. And actually, let me compare it to one of my Telecasters to see how deep it actually is. I mean, I don't know if it's actually that exaggerated. It does mostly look similar, but there is like a curvature on the back that you can kind of see. There's like a bit of a bevel. I can notice it when I'm playing. Like it is it's really easy for me to get up to the 24th fret and like play around up there. So I really appreciate that. They were super accommodating to like all of my requests. I like regrettably was just a dumb, stupid, like 20 something year old. So I wasn't the most courteous dealing with them, because I mean it took a while. There was like delays, and it felt like the delivery date kept getting pushed back. But it's like, I get it, dude. Like making custom guitars is a fucking, you know, it's a whole thing that's really time consuming, and it's not easy. So, you know, I wish I was a little more amicable, but you know, that was like a weird time in my life. But if I could go back, I would do things differently. But you know, I think it's fine. I'm sure I'm not the worst person they've ever dealt with. Like, I was always, you know, whatever. No need to dwell on the past. But yeah, it is a maple neck, because like I said, I love maple. I think I said that. I just, you know, the tone of maple, getting back into tone woods, I think it's bright, it's brighter sounding than, you know, the other option. And I really appreciate bright sounds, clearly. But the fretboard is ebony. I had never had an ebony fretboard before this, but you know, I did a lot of research online about like tone woods, and I'm actually a little upset. One gripe I still have with Halo guitars, no, it's not that serious. Like very shortly after I ordered this guitar, they added a couple more fretboard options, like pale ebony or pale moon ebony, and like zebra wood fretboard, some really cool options. I think also like roasted maple, bird's eye maple. I don't know if those were options at the time when I got this. So I was a little bit like, oh man, if I had waited like a few months I could have got like an even cooler fretboard, but you know, I through my research online, a lot of things said that like ebony fretboards were good for tapping sort of things, like, and I agree with that. I agree with that. Now that I have a few guitars, a couple have ebony fretboards. The next guitar I talk about has ebony fretboards as well. And yeah, there is a noticeable, like, it does feel very, again, obviously it's not plugged in, so like you're not really gonna notice that much, but it does have a noticeably like poppier, punchier sound when I'm tapping, I feel like, which is great. This guitar, it's funny because I got it in like an interim period of my life where I was just phasing out of like really heavy like death metal, prog metal, like gent sort of stuff, and I was getting into the math rock stuff. So it was sort of always like my idea of like, okay, I'm gonna get this guitar. I asked them to set it up in drop B, because that used to be my main tuning. It's pretty funny to think about since my main tuning now is like up-tuned from standard. Yeah, I used to play in like exclusively drop B, and I figured that I would just like, if I had the math rock or emo urge, I would just tune this to like open B or something like that. It is now in open C because I feel like B is maybe a little too low. I mean, you know, I'll still put this thing into B sometimes, or like B flat. I think it's fun to go that low, but I don't know, the strings get a little, yeah, I should have got the baritone scale length, because when I go to the lower tunings that I would like to go to, it gets a little flubby, but that's a me problem. That's the thing, like my issues with these custom guitars, this and the next guitar I'm going to talk about are both custom guitars. All of the issues I have with them, like as far as the build goes, are like things that are on me because I just made dumb choices. So it's always weird for me to like critique the guitars, because it's like they're made really well and they're made like exactly how I asked them to be made. It just turns out that, well, you know, what I thought at the time I wanted ended up not being that good of a choice. So, you know, it's impossible to fault that on the makers, and it's all on like, it's all on me just being a goofy, dumb young man. That's like, if I had a time machine, there are multiple points in my life where I'd be like, okay, Mike, you think you want 25.5 inch scale length, but you actually don't. But it's fine. It's fine, because I don't know, I kind of love all of my guitars for like their little idiosyncrasies. You know, there's things that are great about each of them, and there's things that are like awful about each of them. So, you know, it's why I've got the pack. They all complement each other in different ways. And yeah, I mentioned it earlier, the lace alumitone pickups. I had never even seen them before. I almost got, I think Fishman, the Fluence, whatever pickups, I think those were like just recent, like at the time, but I think they were just too expensive. Like it was more than just like $100. And you know, lace aluminum, everything I had read about them sounded really cool. I opted for the humbucker bridge single coil neck pickup, which is just kind of like something I'm into. It's the same setup I've got on my next custom guitar, which is looming in the background the whole video. I feel like anyone unacquainted with my stuff will just be seeing that in the background, being like, what the hell is that monster? We'll get to it. But yeah, lace aluminum, they are very cool. You know, it's super, like, the clarity between, I don't know why I played it, because it's not plugged in, but the clarity between like all of the notes, especially with the low frequencies of these low tunings, they're all really nice. So I think it's you know, they've won me over. If I made like another custom guitar, or if I saw like a guitar at the store that had lace aluminatones, I would be interested. Obviously, if I made a custom guitar, I'd be interested. But you know, I would make another guitar with lace aluminatones. That's what I'm trying to say. Also, some specific things that I asked for. You'll notice there's only one knob. It's the volume knob. When I ordered this, for some reason I was going through like a really anti-tone knob phase. I was like, there's no point in a tone knob. I'm not even gonna have one on my guitar. And I kind of regret that now. I kind of wish that I just got a tone knob, you know, because it's always nice to have options. But I don't know. I guess I was going for like a simplicity thing. I was like, I just don't want it. And I think this wasn't something I specified, but Jeff, the guy who like runs Halo guitars, he asked me if I wanted them to move. Like, let me get one of the other Telecasters. The tone actually. Yeah, no, it is. He asked if I wanted to have like the volume and pickup switch just like moved. I don't know how well. I wasn't even looking at the camera when I did that. But basically, they moved these a little further from like this area, so there's like. This is like not personally something I've ever like really struggled with, but I know some people have like issues with the tone volume things just like getting in the way over here when you're playing. So it's just kind of nice to have them out of the way. And then the tone, the pickup selector, I just asked them instead of the I really don't like the one thing I dislike about Telecasters. I don't like the selector switch on them, which is great because I don't really mess around with it on the other Tellies. But yeah, I was just like, could you just give me like the I guess it's like a Les Paul style. I don't really remember, but I wanted one of those things. And I love it. I love it that they did that because I much prefer this kind of switch to the other switch. And then the Schaller Hans bridge. I had never heard of that before, but I saw it on the site, and it's a great bridge. It's like the easiest setup in the world. Like for intonation, it's literally just like a screw. You just have to, you know. I know that's like all intonation is like technically on all guitars, you know, most of it is just a screw, but it's so simple and the action is so simple to adjust. It's just so nice. And with the locking headstock tuners, like restringing this thing is such a breeze because it's just like, you know, it's so quick. And I love it for that. It's got a 0 fret. I honestly don't really like understand the benefit of having a 0 fret, but it's cool, I guess. I like it. I don't know if I mentioned, but the body is alder. Yeah, the maple neck through ebony fretboard. I'm just going through the spec sheet now to see if I missed anything. It's got lumenlay side fret markers. I don't currently play this guitar live that much. I used to, but we don't really have, in Girls Nails, we don't really have any songs anymore where I down tune. Because our recent album, well, I say recent, but it's not released yet. The album we are working on, every song I play on my new Telly in open E, but you know, after this album, I want to use all these guitars, so you know there will be a lot of different tunings and stuff, and different sounds like tone-wise, because all the guitars sound a little bit different. But yeah, I do remember when I used to play this live. It was really cool to have the the glow-in-the-dark fret markers. I don't really like, it's not something I need. You know, I know where the frets are. But it's great to have, especially just like in the really dark shows. It's nice to not have to rely on that muscle memory so much, but and the gold hardware, obviously, like this is a very, it's a very sick guitar with like all the gold and the pink. I love the pink. It's awesome. The purple. I love looking at this thing. The stickers, you know, it's right now pretty bare. I'm kind of like still debating if I want to glam this one up like the others. But you know, it's got the girl's nails sticker. This is like a Pokemon ad for the newest Pokemon anime, but it's in Japanese. It just kind of, I noticed that it just matched the color of the guitar, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna put that on my guitar. And the other girl's nails sticker that we had for a while. We don't have it anymore, but yeah, it's really sick. I'm excited to start using this for more girls' nails stuff. I've got this dream of having like all of my guitars on stage and switching like every song to a new guitar. It'll be like obnoxious, but it's also gonna be fun. So yeah, the next guitar, my newest custom guitar, the monster that's been in the background this whole time. The 14-string FM guitar. Man, this thing was a trip. Because I feel like for both the custom guitars, they came at like a weird periods in my life. Because that last custom guitar, you know, it was like I was working this job that I absolutely hated, and the only reason I could get it was because like a distant aunt who I had met like a couple times in my life as a child passed, and you know, she was very close with my father, so I received like a big amount of inheritance money. So of course, for young stupid me, I was like, I'm gonna buy a really expensive guitar. And then most of the rest of that inheritance money went to school tuition for music school. So it was not a great period of my life, but because of that, it kind of like set me on the course for musical breakthroughs. So you know, I'm very appreciative of receiving that money, because you know, if I didn't, I don't know if I would have gone to music school. And I do credit music school for a lot of development of my playing. So, but yeah, this guitar too kind of came at a weird period of my life, because it was 2020, maybe 2019, I can't remember. Again, it was like the peak of the COVID pandemic. And my dog had gotten like seriously injured. Her back like gave out. She was paralyzed for a month. And it kind of led to me like dropping out of the aforementioned music school and just like a lot of negative things going on in my life at the time. And then lo and behold, Felix Martin, who I had always been like a big fan of his as a kid. Seeing the crazy guitars he played, and especially when I got into like tapping stuff, I was always like, man, I would love to play one of those ridiculous like double fretboard guitars and see what I could do with the math rock stuff. So it was like a dream come true when I saw online Felix Martin. Oh, I'm releasing this new guitar line of exactly the guitars that I wanted to play my whole life. So I basically like immediately got on that, because you know, when I was younger, I had always like when there was a time when Strandberg guitars had like an online customizer that you could make, and I think they got rid of it because they were just like so popular. And like, because I remember I always wanted to order like a customized Strandberg guitar, and you know, I never had the funds for it because it was like $5,000 and I was just a kid. And by the time I got, like, you know, the inheritance money that I used to buy the Halo guitar, the wait list for a Strandberg guitar was like 2 years or something. So I was like, you know, so when these guitars were announced, I was like, okay, I gotta jump on it like super quickly because I don't want to be struck by some crazy wait list. I want this guitar. So I didn't even have the money, but I emailed Felix because he had followed me on Instagram, just like seeing my tapping stuff, and he might have even been the one that DM'd me about the guitars. I can't remember if I saw it organically or if he told me. But you know, I think he had even said just like, I want you to have one of these guitars. Obviously he's not gonna like give it to me, but I was, yeah, you know, I was in his email, I was being like, I'm very interested, I want this guitar, I don't have the money right now, but I was like, just know that I want it. I want it, dude. Yeah, I remember I got because I was thinking, how did I afford this guitar? And I got a student loan. I got a student loan because I don't even think I went to school all that much, but I was still enrolled and I'm still paying that loan off. But you know, I used a good chunk of it to buy this guitar, which is pretty funny. I don't know if I should even admit that. but yeah, so I was basically saying to Felix, like, just wait until the new semester at school starts and I get my student loan and then I can afford it. So yeah, I mean, this is one of like the first public FM guitars, I think, like I want to say, because like, I don't know, I looked through their website at like pictures, and this guitar is very early in the lifespan, so I think that's cool. One unfortunate setback is like now they have hip shot tuners, I think is what they're called. These are like the custom FM tuners, which are like honestly fine. I think this was the first headless guitar I've ever played, and I think I was just very dumb. Like I said, a lot of my issues with these custom guitars are user issues. So, you know, I think I probably am the reason that the tuners don't really vibe with me. But, you know, it's not like they're bad. It's not like they're bad at all. They're really good. They do what they are supposed to do. And honestly, adjusting the intonation and the action on this is really simple. The action is just, you know, Allen key adjustments. And the intonation, you just unscrew the saddle and move it however much you have to. One of the issues, I think the scale length on this, let me see if it's in the email. Yeah, the scale length is 25.5, the same as the others. Because I got it as in, there's 8 strings on the bottom fretboard and 6 strings on the top fretboard, which was like, now it's offered on the website as like just an option, but when I ordered it, it wasn't anywhere like on the website. They only had like 6 and 6, 7 and 7, 8 and 8. But one of my like favorite eras of maybe not even an era, there's only like a few videos of him playing these guitars, but there was a time in like my childhood when I was into Felix Martin's stuff where he was playing a guitar that was like 8 and 6, and that had always just like appealed to me more than say like 8 and 8, because I don't know, when I'm tapping, I don't really go for the low strings all that often. So, and I don't know, I think there's just something cool about the asymmetry of it. But yeah, I don't know, I guess I figured because I just had like a regular 6-string fretboard, the scale length, you know, it wouldn't make sense to have it longer. But I do now wish that I got like fan frets, or at least just like a longer scale length, because with the 8th and 7th string on the lower fretboard, I've got some issues with like flub and flub and intonation and tuning, but I also, you know, that's probably a lot of user error. I know how to restring guitars properly now, especially headless guitars. I guess I learned this with the next guitar I'm going to talk about, the Ibanez. You got to get all the strings on first and then tune them up, and I guess that just makes it so that the tension is better. So I've got to try that on this guitar. I will have to restring this soon, and Felix said himself that he wants to see it all stickered up like the Telecaster. I had always felt weird like about putting stickers. I had a girl's nails sticker on it right here. It's still kind of sticky, but I even removed it because I thought it just kind of like detracted from the look of the guitar. Because they did a really good job on the finish. It looks awesome. It's like almost salmon-y. Like there's a little bit of like orange underneath the pink, which is like, it's a super cool look. The pearloid pink, the white pearl pick guard looks awesome. I've got one other guitar with a white pearl pick guard. It's an Ibanez Super Strat. I don't need to, the RG350X or whatever the hell the crazy name is. But you know, it's so sick. But Felix said that it would be awesome to see it stickered up, so I've kind of got plans to restring it, and I do have some ideas for stickers. I'm not going to go as crazy as the other two, but I actually do have some good ideas for it that I think Felix will like, and I'm going to like it. I think everyone's going to like it. People seem to like what I do with the stickers, which I'm very thankful for. But yeah, it's really sick. I'm getting more acquainted with it for an unfortunately long time. It kind of just sat in like the back of my videos, and I didn't play it all that much because I think just all of the user error issues I was having made me like really anxious when I played it. I was like, something's gonna go wrong. There was like a time really early on when I thought I just completely broke a couple of the tuners. I have fixed them, and like it's mostly under control, but you know, I was very anxious about this guitar for a long time, but I'm playing it more recently and I'm getting more comfortable on it, and it is a guitar I'm excited to use in girls' nails because I've played it live like a couple of times. Once was a little disastrous, but the other time went fine. I played one song on it and it went fine. So, you know, I don't know if I mentioned more of this, but the fretboard ebony, I think I said. The neck is maple, obviously. It's chambered. I don't honestly know what that means for this. You know, I don't know a whole lot about like chambered versus non-chambered guitars. But you know, the body is basswood. I thought it was alder, to be honest, but it's basswood. The top quilted maple. Like I said earlier, I'm not usually into like quilted or is it flamed maple, but this looks sick. I have like an attachment that I sent Felix of a pink guitar that I found online just from like Googling pink guitar. And I basically just told him, give me this finish. And he gave me that finish. So it's awesome. They were like, Felix was very accommodating to like all of my requests. I kind of touched on it and then it went nowhere. But yeah, the 8+6 setup wasn't an option. I asked him, I was like, hey, would it be cool if I got like 8 strings on the bottom fretboard and 6 on the top? And he was like, yeah, of course we'll do that. It was like, there wasn't even a question about it. It was like, yeah. And now they offered that, and also a 7+9 setup, which, secret, but I one day I'm gonna get another one of these, and it's gonna be, I'm gonna get 9+7, because I don't even like 9-string guitars all that much, but I don't know, 9 and 7 seems very appealing to me for some reason. So that's in the future. Not necessarily the near future, but the future. And yeah, so I think that's what I can say about it. I'm just trying to think if there's anything. Obviously, it's the Telecaster body shape. This is like, I got this guitar like 1 or 2 years ago. I guess 2 years ago, or like 1.5 years ago, something like that. So I was like firmly in the Telecaster gang. I was like, yeah, just give me a Tele. Thinking back, like now, maybe I'm like, I could have got the Strat body. The only body that I knew I didn't want was like the standard like super Strat looking-ish body, because I don't know, I'm just not like that big on that. The next guitar I'm going to talk about has like a super Stratish body, but you know, I like the, I talked about like asymmetry earlier. I like the thing here, the rounded horn, and then like the actual horn. I don't know, it's cool. It's cool to me. But yeah, finally onto the last guitar, the newest guitar, like super new. Like it's only weeks old in my collection at this point. The Ibanez. Oh, this is also the only guitar that for some reason I didn't pull specs up for. The Ibanez QX52 is what it's called. I think if you want to get like even more in depth, it's got BKF, the QX52-BKF, headless electric guitar. That's what the full thing is. Yeah, I got this like 2 weeks ago. Maybe even just 1 week ago. But I saw on, because I started a new job like a month or so ago, and I started making money again for a while there after I dropped out of school. I wasn't getting student loans anymore, which you shouldn't rely on student loans to buy things, guys. But yeah, so now that I'm making money again, I was like, I can get a guitar now. I'm an adult now. I'll finance it like a responsible boy. And so I was just kind of browsing my Long and McQuaid, the inventory at like my local store, and I saw that they had a couple of these headless Ibanez guitars, and maybe I'll get a new guitar went to like, okay, I'm getting a new guitar. There's no question about it. And I'm happy about it because I love this guitar. This is really cool. And a lot of the specs are so different from like all my other guitars. So it's really interesting. Like, let's see, it's got a Nyato body. I had never even heard of that wood before I got this. And you can see I'm holding it very easily with one hand. It's the lightest guitar I've ever held. It's like, does it have the weight on the specs? I don't even know if that's like, it doesn't look like it does. It's like 6 pounds. Like it's so easy to just lift. I could move it around however I want, and it's insane. And I have played it live now. Once I played one show with it, and it's awesome. It's awesome to like, not that the other guitars are like super heavy. The only heavy one is the bass. But it's awesome to have this like a light little thing that I can just throw around on stage. It's got a 3-piece roasted maple Bubinga neck. You can see kind of there's like the slight coloration change with the Bubinga and the roasted maple. I love roasted maple. I love the look of it. It's maple, so obviously I love the sound of it. The frets are Jumbo Jescar Evo Gold. They're gold frets. I've never seen gold frets before. I think it's cool. I'm a big fan of like gold hardware and stuff, so gold frets are cool with me, man. The neck is really great. It's like, I like that all these guitars have like noticeably different necks. They all feel like a little different, and none of them feel bad, which is great. But they all feel a little bit different. The pickups, I'm really impressed with the Q58 pickups, they're called. I don't usually go for like 2 humbuckers, but This has one of the craziest coil splits I've ever seen. You know, there's a five-way pickup selector, which I'm looking at the switching system now. So it's like you've got the neck pickup, where obviously it's just the neck pickup, and then it's a five-way selector. So you've got the in between neck and middle. It's the middle two. It's like coil split between. Or not coil split, but it's like, you know, it's the middle two single coil things, and then middle you've got both humbuckers going full, and then between bridge and middle you've got the outmost two going, and then bridge, obviously you've got the full bridge, but then you also have the coil split. So you can get even more tones. So, you know, I'm still cracking into like different sounds. The bridge is awesome. You know, tuning this, the first time I tuned it, when I restrung it, like the day that I bought it, was a little disastrous, because like I said, I discovered that with headless guitars you have to string all of it at once and then tune, because yeah, it was a thing. It was a whole process. But when I restrung it a second time, it was so painless and so easy. So I'm into that. Obviously you can see I've clammed it up. I'm really happy with it. I do have to add like a couple more. There's too much negative space in a couple areas for my liking, but it looks sick. I've got the pink, honestly a different color little fret dampener thing is probably a better call. But yeah, I think it looks awesome. Because the one thing I didn't like that much about this was, oh, it's just a solid black super strat thing. You know, it's kind of lame. So, you know, I went ahead and spiced it up a little bit. But yeah, I've got this one in open D. I don't think I mentioned actually what I had the FM guitar in, but it's just the same tuning as my Tele, open E, just with the extra bass strings of the 8th string neck. Honestly, I could probably do some like, I should probably get some different tunings into my guitars, but I don't know. I like the setup of like open E, and it's nice to just have lower versions of that for when I want to play lower keys. So, and I really like playing in D major, so it's fun to have this guitar set up in open D. But yeah, I mean, this is still like super, it's 24 frets. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about the it's not fanned, it's not multi-scale neck or anything, but the neck, or the frets are slanted. There's like an 8-degree slant, I think is what they say. But you know, it's 25.5 inches on both ends, so it's not multi-scale or anything. But they are slanted, and it's I notice it sometimes it throws me off a little bit, but most of the time it helps. The one time I played it live recently, I played this for like 3 songs, and then I played the Telecaster for the last couple of songs, and it actually like messed me up when I switched back to the Telecaster, because I don't know, I got like used to the slanted frets, and something weird happened in the wiring in my brain. So I don't know, that's just something that I'll get used to. But yeah, you know, it's sick, it's awesome. I'm really happy that I went ahead and bought this. And yeah, I'm super excited now. I feel like with this guitar and the fact that I'm like playing the FM guitar and like all of the other guitars, they're all set up in ways that I'm like comfortable playing. I'm like, yeah, this is like my guitar family now, and I wanna spread them. I want to spread them out somewhat evenly. Obviously, I favor certain guitars, but I'm trying to play them all somewhat evenly, and I want to use them all in girls' nails and like my solo stuff. And I think you're already seeing it if you follow me on Instagram. I've been changing up guitars a lot more than I used to. There was a period where I just was. It was like every video was the same Telecaster. So you know, I'm changing it up a bit now. I think it's really interesting and fun, and yeah, This was honestly way too long. I knew it probably would be. I'm a rambler, so I don't know. Treat it like a podcast. If you're a nerd and you just want to hear me talk about guitars, and the stories behind them, like yeah, with this one, it was like the same deal as my Telecaster, the American Pro. Like my first paycheck at my new job, I was like, I'm getting a guitar. I am financing it, so you know, I'm paying it off over time because I can't really, as an older man, I can't really not that I'm an older man. I mean, as comparatively to when I got the other guitar, as a man older than I was back then, I can't really justify dropping my entire paycheck on a guitar. But I'll put a sizable chunk into a guitar every couple of weeks. So, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. This was used. I noticed it with a couple things. Turning the tone knob makes it like a little scratchy. There's some wiring that's a little crossed, but like I said, I don't really touch the tone knob that much, so it's like whatever. Because other than that, this thing feels like totally new condition. Like it doesn't feel used. But since it was used, it was just $9.99, which after tax, you know, it's like $1,100 about. But for a guitar that feels and sounds as friggin' sweet as this, that's a steal. Like the sound on this, like I said, the pickups, I'm so impressed by. Because there's options that sound great for like metal. There's options that sound great for math rock. It just sounds sick, which people have noticed. A lot of the times when I post videos with this, people are like, that sounds incredible. And I just record through my phone microphone. You know, I don't have any like interface that I'm using. I have an interface, I just don't use it. And there are people who ask me like, what interface are you using? I'm like, it's just the iPhone, dude. It's just the guitar sounds sick. So I love that for me because it kind of just justifies my decision to not use an interface. I've got to use an interface eventually, but for now, I just like jamming in my bedroom through the iPhone microphone. So yeah, there you go. I think I've talked enough. I do have an acoustic guitar. I forgot to look up specs for it, and you know, honestly, it's not like that of note. It's kind of just a maple body acoustic with like a rosewood fretboard. I also have it in open D, just like this guitar. I pull it out when I want to like sing an emo song and pluck away on some chords. I will use it on the Girls Nails album we're working on just to overdub some acoustic parts, but yeah, I don't know. It's not that of note, but I'll show it. I'll show it real quickly. Here's a nice little present for anyone who made it this far. It's an acoustic. It's an acoustic guitar. I don't know. Every now and then I get more into acoustic guitar, but for the most part, I'm an electric boy. So there you go. Hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about my guitars, and yeah, look forward to hearing all of them and seeing all of them a lot more. Even the bass. I would love to get the bass going on some stuff. I definitely need to play more bass. So yeah, there you go. Bye-bye, goodbye. See you later, bye. Oh, I missed. Goodbye.